A Crystal Ball. Written and read by Claudette Evans. Colourful glass fishermen's floats adorn the cottages, pubs and shops alike in the once busy fishing port of Carrick. With its picturesque cobbles, winding alleys and hidden coves, it was now a trendy tourist destination, and with plenty of wood-beam pubs to frequent, from the spit and sawdust of the Jolly Sailor on the quayside to the upmarket chrome and glass of the Rope and Compass. The town was especially popular at weekends with stag and hen parties. Jenny had chosen this as the ideal location for Sharon to celebrate her last weekend as a single woman, lining up their best friends, Abigail, Lucy, Jackie and Wendy, to ensure the bride-to-be had a weekend to remember. Having known one another since first attending big school, they would be staying at the Antelope Hotel, which claimed to have its very own resident ghost. "Just to add a bit of spice," Jen claimed. Their evening commenced with cocktails in the ship's anchor, selecting Sex on the Beach, considering it to be appropriate, as Sharon and Richard would be honeymooning in Antigua. A combination of vodka, peach schnapps, cranberry and orange juice. Academic Wendy was quick to point out its medicinal qualities. "Did you know it can prevent oxidative damage?" she stated, nibbling the flesh from the adorning cherry. "What's that mean exactly?" asked Lucy. "Something to do with free radicals, I think," offered Abby, noisily slurping the brightly coloured liquid through the paper straw. "Aren't they the lefties?" quizzed Sharon. "No, twit," chuckled Wendy. "It's to do with the ageing process and—" "Enough, ladies," interrupted Jackie, knowing Wendy considered herself the font of all knowledge, and if allowed to continue, would deliver an educational lecture unless stopped. "I'm 30 next July," she cried, "and I don't want to wait until then for my next drink. So what's it to be?" The next pub on Jen's list, the Slug and Lettuce, turned out to be one of the popular chain, with little original features. "Looks just like the one back home. It's even got the same layout," complained Abby. "Boring," they cried in unison, and deciding thirst outweighed decor, dispatched Lucy to order a round of drinks, whilst they found an unoccupied table. "Did you notice that fortune-teller's caravan parked on the quayside?" asked Abby. "I had mine done once," lurked Jackie. "Load of bunkum, if you ask me. Told me I was going to meet a tall, dark, handsome man who'd whisk me away to a life of luxury." The remark had the girls bursting into fits of laughter. "Have I missed something?" asked Lucy, returning with a tray of coffee-coloured beverages. The girls quickly explained, to which Lucy replied, "What? Not her Harry, the local butcher's boy." "He's the son," added Jackie defensively. "It'll be his one day when his old man pops his clogs. Anyway, what's these?" "Looks like Bailey's," suggested Abby. "Ugh," squirmed Jen. "Tastes nothing like." "It's called Screaming Orgasm," replied Lucy. "Thought I'd get Sharon all prepped up for Deep Throat." She began moving her fingers in and out of her mouth to hoots of raucous laughter. "Girls, really," scowled Wendy. "Bailey's was my mum's favourite in the 80s, said Jen, as the group settled down. "My gran used to think having a snowball at Christmas was outrageous," said Lucy. "Wonder what she'd have made of this." They then began to reminisce on their childhood, of their dreams and aspirations. From their earliest memories, Jackie was the one destined to marry first, having planned the whole event even before obtaining a boyfriend. Wendy'd been the bookworm at school and predictably, as she'd always intended, became a teacher and married one. Abigail, or Abby as she preferred to be called, was the artistic one of the six and was now the proud owner of her own art gallery with her partner Rachel. She was the total opposite of Jenny, the organizer, the events planner, and now manager of an upmarket hotel, and now settled with her stockbroker husband and 2 children. However, this never stopped her from letting her hair down occasionally, which suited both Lucy and Sharon. Lucy had always been the wayward child, loved to party and pregnant at 16, but somehow she'd always got by with a little help from her gran. Her daughter would be starting 6th form at the end of the summer holidays. "So, Sharon," began Jen, "last of the gang to get settled, eh?" "Nurse marries her doctor," tittered Jackie. "Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, know what I mean?" For a moment the 6 remained silent before all bursting into fits of laughter. "A toast, lady," said Jen, once they'd calmed down. "Inhibitions to the wind." "Go on then, let's do it," cried Abby. "Let's do what?" asked Lucy, wiping the tears from her eyes. "The fortune teller, silly. Let's see what life's got in store for Sharon and her Dick." "His name's Richard," protested Sharon. Yeah, come on. It's all hokum pokum," said Jackie, not realising her innuendo had caused even more giggles to erupt between them, plus some more lewd remarks, the alcohol bringing out their wild sides. The sign alleged the teller of fortunes was fully qualified and insured. Her tarot cards hailed from the 14th century, and the crystal ball had been handed down through the generations. She promised to unlock the secrets within people's minds and so help them find fulfillment. Having already drawn lots as to who would be first to enter the gypsies' caravan, the short straw falling to the bride-to-be herself. Sharon climbed the well-worn wooden steps and parted the thin, crushed voile curtain to be greeted with a smell that reminded her of her parents' garden. The mixture of newly mown lawn and lavender made her feel warm, safe, and secure. With hair drawn back into a long plait that stretched to her waist, the woman was younger than Sharon had expected. "Come in, my dear, and welcome. Happiness is within everyone's grasp, and I can help you find it." Her hospitable smile revealed a row of perfectly formed white teeth, introducing herself as Talahatha Morgana, and claiming to be related to the late, great gypsy fortune-teller of the same name, and like her, was, allegedly, the 7th daughter of a 7th daughter. "If I see disaster looming, then I will warn you," she said. "If you wish to ask me for help, hopefully I can give an answer and help you build a better life. Now, which would you prefer, the cards or the ball?" Climbing the steps to listen to the gypsy spiel, their tongues loosened by an excess of liquor, her friends all shouted with one voice, "Balls! And the bigger the better!" accompanied by more hysterical laughter, with Sharon leaning back, giggling and shouting at them to go away. The raucous interruption didn't seem to bother the fortune-teller, who removed the black velvet cloth from the crystal ball, sitting in the centre of the small, round table. Sharon noticed it was filled with a swirling white mist and, as asked, placed both hands on it, and in very hushed tones the woman began to chant. The words may well have been in double Dutch, as many of them went over Sharon's alcohol-drenched brain. Leaving the gypsy, an ashen-faced Sharon rejoined her friends at the bottom of the caravan. "Well, how'd it go?" asked Jen, attempting to herd them towards the next pub on her list, but Sharon remained fixed, gripping the side of the van. "So spill the beans," demanded Jackie, widening her eyes and putting on doom-laden voice. "We're all going to die a horrible death." "Not really," replied Sharon, her fist massaging her chin. "She said the flight wouldn't get off the ground and we shouldn't go." "As Jackie said, it's a load of tosh," reminded Wendy. "They say things like that simply to scare you. Come on, let's go to the chippy and get some nosh. I'm starving." Turning home, Sharon couldn't quite get the gypsy's foreboding out of her head and decided to tell Richard, who predictably laughed, placing his arm on her shoulder and giving it a squeeze. The following morning, the news hit the headlines. Indigo travel, go bust. All holidays cancelled. Government to rescue stranded passengers. See? What did I tell you? Said Richard. You must have got your shouldn't and wouldn't muddled up. Let's be honest, by your own admission, you were pie-eyed, you silly goose. Next, you'll be telling me you saw the ghost. Sharon laughed as he pulled her close, and whenever she felt fearful or anxious, the warmth of his being gave her comfort and reassurance, removing any misgivings. No, who's being silly? Said a relieved Sharon, kissing him lightly on the lips. Richard sighed. Well, at least we're insured. Their next lingering kiss ignited the passion within them both, and he swept her up into his arms and carried her to the bed. Laying her on the quilt, he paused, and for a moment they stared deep into each other's eyes, his full of wonder and love, hers full of passion. Sharon let out a little whimper as he leaned in and softly kissed up and down her neck. Pulling him to her, they kissed some more, and rolling him over, she lay on top of his strong, muscular body. All thoughts of the fortune-teller's prediction evaporated as she became lost in hunger. His touch electrified every nerve in her body as he entered her. She wanted to hold back, caught between the intoxication of the climax and extending the moment neither ever wanted to end. 3 weeks later, having hastily rearranged their honeymoon and following a final swim, the couple were enjoying cocktails in the coolest of the early evening sun. Wrapping around a natural harbour and tucked into Mallorca's southeastern corner, the peaceful former fishing village was a quiet, laid-back place, a far cry from the partying hotspot of Malaguf. Having spent the day relaxing on Porto Petro's sandy beach, as this was their last evening, Richard had planned it would be a night to remember. Fingers entwined, surrounded by colourful glass fishermen's floats, many fitted with LED lights to give the appearance of crystal balls, they sat watching the glistening yachts bob on the inky blue waters of the pretty natural harbour, bounded by whitewashed cottages, craft shops and traditional Mediterranean restaurants, where freshly netted seafood was the order of the day. Over the champagne cocktail, Richard handed Sharon an envelope. Well, go on, open it. Inside were 2 tickets for Antigua. Sharon shivered, as though engulfed by a blast of freezing cold air. What's the matter? Asked Richard. Aren't you delighted? Well, yes, of course, replied Sharon, reaching out and gripping his hand. I had the strangest feeling. Like what? Asked Richard. Oh, I don't know. Déjà vu, perhaps, she said, smiling. This place reminds me of... She faltered, hoping he hadn't noticed her sharp intake of breath.